Hello, welcome to another episode of Gotta Start Somewhere. Today, we are going to continue on our series of finding out the old Mega Evolutions that are out in the game. We're going to do a slightly more deeper dive into the Mega Evolutions in the past. And I wanted to go over how strong they actually are compared to some of the Pokemons that we have now that are used in Regulation H. I chose Regulation H specifically because Regulation F has like Ogerpon, has Fluttermaze that are most likely going to not come into the first season of the game. So I didn't want to include those because they definitely will be too strong. Like max special attack choice specs, Chiyu does so much more damage than some of the Mega Evolutions that we have. Almost up to par, but definitely a lot more than what we can compare. So we are. I have chosen the top 10 of the Regulation H Pokemons that were used according to the Stat Crushers, and I will be going over their strongest move damage, second move damage, their defensive bulk, and their special defensive bulk. I'm going to choose the one of the more one of the most common stat breakpoints that they use within the system. Like for example, like whatever that is the the highest usage, we are definitely going to use. Like Incineroar, the HP stat will be this 202 with defense be 111. I have put up the calculation. So this is a way to quantify how strong a move is or how defensive a Pokemon is that is used a lot in Korea, and also I think it is also used in Japan as well, where they quantify the number and they kind of compare the number of the attack power and divided by the bulk to see how much damage range that a move is most likely going to do to a opposing Pokemon. So this is the stat, and I will be putting them in here. I want to probably just flesh out how long these are going to be. I put the items in here in case, like for example, most commonly used item for Ursaluna would be Life Orb, and this I will decide if it's going to be Life Orb or Choice Specs, and this will be Choice Band, things like that to show what are the more common items used for them. So I will probably go one at a time just so we can kind of compare. So I don't talk about all of Mega Evolutions and all of Regulation H. So I'll just go back and forth. So these are like the 10, roughly 10 most common Mega Evolutions that was used back in the day. So we are going to start with Salamence. I will probably. This is a little bit hard to do because sure, Double Edge is there, Dragon Dance is there. I might go Jolly for the sake of the argument, or I might just go Hasty. So this is the move. So this is the most common EV spread, which is Hasty 0, 146. Yeah. Hasty. I'm just gonna move this off the side so I can read it a little better. Hasty 0 on 40, 0 116, 0 252. So this is the most commonly used EV spread, at least according to Pika Analytics. This is a little bit unsure because I don't think they are using a very large sample for this for the Ultra Moon series. Um, I'm gonna look for something that is more reliable. Maybe if I can't find like a team report, I'm gonna try to use that. I'll probably just do like one or two, so I can always make the change on the back end later today. So the move that I'm going to do, well, I just want to kind of show the strongest. So the first move will be double edge. The second move would be probably hyper voice. This is because these are the most two commonly used moves, and I want to base off of what is, most common. Um, so this is the Mega Salamence. So hasty, I think, is you get more speed but lower special defense, so it doesn't actually matter. Double edge. It'll be double edge and then aerialate. So that goes up. It doesn't put all on the attack, so it is actually a 140. So the number would be 39528. And then hyper voice. This will be 90 with little less investment on the special attack, 116. So 25110. And then I can always go here and then show the attack and defensive bulk, which it doesn't do anything. So we can kind of see that with hasty, let's just make sure which one it is, because I always get confused between hasty and naive. So hasty is you plus speed minus defense, okay, and naive is minus special defense. So with hasty being minus defense, it would be 0.9. This would be the defensive bulk, and this would be the special defense bulk. Alright, so the day is tomorrow, and I have done some of the work before while I was away for the day, and I was able to find out most of the calculations done. So for the Mega Evolutions, I have used the Smogon set that was out there related to VGC, and Regulation H, like I said, I used the Stat Crushers to find the most common-ish set, except for Archaludon, which was a little difficult to find, so I used one of Cybertron's video in the past. So, one thing that I have learned over the time of me doing research is that the new mons are so complicated compared to the Mega Evolutions. Mega Evolutions, you Mega Evolve, you hit. And the new mons, there's Grassy Seas to consider. There is, Last Respect, which ups the value when you attack. The Rage Fist that ups the value when you hit. Electro Shot that pluses 1, so you have to take that into consideration. Assault Fist that goes into the bulk. Crazy. So, comparing the attacks, so we have 42k double edge, 23k hyper voice with 55k bulk, 45k bulk. Kangaskhan does only about 40k, so we can see the actual damage is a little bit lower, and special bulk is a little higher with defensive bulk a little lower. But with the Kangaskhan, you use the power up punch to get +2, so it is reasonable to say that this doubles the numbers in a lot of the situations. Gengar, it does definitely have weaker attacks with 30k Sludge Bomb and 26k Shadow Ball, and also very meek ball compared to the other two upper echelons. Um, that's probably why these two stayed as an attacker in the restricted format as well. But Gengar kind of took a supportive role that goes Perish Song, that goes Disable, that has Icy Winds, all that provide the support with the a lot of grass type. I'm sorry, with a lot of coverage that it gets being the ghost type. It will learn Will-O-Wisp and all the other mons that can support what is next to it. Charizard Y. Heatwave 49k, this does a lot of damage. Also, it has to do with the fact that it has the weather on him. So this we can see that Charizard does a lot of damage that's comparable to a lot of the damage that the Regulation H does. Solar Beam, it does offer a good coverage, has a very good defensive special defense both, but regular defense both. Now we see the Mega Metagross, which runs the Jolly set. Has a little bit of attack. It's only 30k ish, even with the Tough Claws boost. But it does have a much better defensive bulk with the 64k, which I think that is the highest bulk out of all the Mega Evolutions, at least that is presented in here. And with the 50k special defense bulk, which is nothing to scoff at. Now we see the other hand of the Mega Gardevoir that run. This is a Trick Room set that I have pulled up that runs 33.8k with Hyper Voice, which is a lot of damage with Pixelate, and because it's a spread move, it's nothing compared to the Heat Wave, but Hyper Voice hits all the time. And also Fairy was a pretty good typing back in Gen 7. I guess it does get resisted by Metagross, gets resisted by Gengar, I think, because that's poison, Mega Mawile, and Mega Lucario. But still, it will hit against a lot of the other mons. It also has Psychic and has a very good special defense bulk with 66k. So Mega Mawile does about 41k damage with the not the huge power. It is huge power boost, and also has a very good defense and special defense bulk compared to the others. But I feel like it does have a little bit better damage compared to Mega Metagross, which kind of runs a similar vein, although it is more has a more defense bulk and it is faster. So I think it is preferential at this point, whether you want to Iron Head stronger or Iron Head from the top, which it is a little bit difficult to Iron Head from the top with the Mega Mawile because it is slower. But if you are able to set up a Trick Room somehow, that is, it is possible. So with the Mega Manectric, this, I think it is mostly used as an Intimidate and able to switch out with the Volt Switch. It also runs Snarl, so it has a little bit more supportive role. That's why the damage isn't very strong. But it also has not that great of a bulk. Like if I just hit Wave Crash on it, it will most likely die. So I'm not sure how strong it is. It will be faster than Basculegion though. So maybe if I could Volt Switch it, then it will still not die. Okay. Mega Lucario. This is a jolly set with adaptability. So 47k close combat, which is pretty good. Is stronger than this set of Salamence, but a lot of Salamence runs Dragon Dance, which will outspeed and out strength it. and it is very weak in terms of defensive bulk, comparable to a Mega Gengar. Um, Lastly, Mega Baneri actually fell short of a lot of the other Mega Evolution mons in terms of damage. Yes, sure, with the Scrappy, it can hit Mega Gengar and stuff like that, and a normal and the fighting coverage is actually pretty good to hit from the top. However, it lost a return that did a decent amount of damage, and high jump kick is always risky to miss. And with it lost the return, it didn't get double edge. It really didn't get anything other than like a double hit, which is 70 max, and headbutt, which is also 70. So I'm not sure how Mega Baneri is going to scale in the meta. It definitely feels like it doesn't have much of a future here. Now, let's go to Regulation H mons. These are the top 10 Regulation H Pokemons. Incineroar, the item is just I just grabbed the top one. Whatever that was used most, whether it has any offensive or defensive tools with it, I just picked it. It just turns out only Annihilate and Basket Legion, and also the Incineroar doesn't really care about item boosting its attack or defense. Um, there is, but everything else actually has somewhat say into what they want to do in terms of offensive or defensive. Starting with Incineroar, Flare Blitz is 32k, which is, considering Mega Gengar did 30k, this doing the same amount of damage as the Mega Gengar and able to have almost 1.5 times of defensive and special defense bulk. Learns, U-turn, learns Will-O-Wisp, can actually, and learns Parting Shot, everything, it can pretty much do a lot except for speed control that the Gengar can do. And I guess the Perish Stomp too, but we can see that its defensive bulk is same as Mega Salamence, Mega Kangaskhan, um, almost to a Mega Mole, and special defense is around like Mega Kangaskhan as well. And this is just a regular Mon, and if you slap on the Sulfest on it, it's going to be so much better. Speaking of slapping on a Sulfest, we can see that the Rillaboom does a whopping damage of 41k, which is similar to, I guess, Ironhead of Mega Mile without any boosted item, other than the fact that it gets boosted by the grassy field, the grassy terrain. And Grassy Glide does a little bit less damage, similar to a Volt Switch of Mega Manectric, and its special defense bulk and the defense bulk outclasses everything, almost everything except for like the defense bulk of Mega Metagross. Um, Goldengo runs Life Orb most commonly. Sometimes it runs Specs, but I think, like I said, I do want to cover for the most common cases. So I did the calculations under the Life Orb variant. Making Rain does about 41k. You can decide to nasty plot before, you cannot decide to nasty plot before. That number varies, but when you first enter the field, you can make it rain and then do 41k damage, which is a lot. Shadow Ball, not so much. But with one nasty plot, Shadow Ball doesn't drop your special attack, so that's pretty good. Um, and with the defense and special defense, it runs around 47k for an attacker. That is not so bad. It averages out, so it feels like a lot of these mons are actually a lot stronger and a lot bulkier than some of the Mega Evolutions for what they are trying to do. Um, you look at Ursa Luna, Blood Moon right here. Blood Moon does 55k damage, although you can use it on another one, but you can decide to do 35k worth of damage with Earth Power, which is the same as Double Edge, same as stronger than Hyper Voice, stronger than Iron Head, stronger than Hyper Voice here. And then it has, its physical bulk is 65k, which is stronger than Mega Metagross, and 38k, which special defense is a little bit weaker. Now you look at Dragonite. With loaded dice, is 4 or 5 times that is going to hit the scale shot, which averages out to about 34k, which isn't that much, but it will get faster, but it does lose the bulk somehow, which it can somewhat afford to lose with the starting bulk. When you hit first, it's gonna have a 93k bulk, and even when the multi-scale is broken, the 46k and 48k is definitely nothing to scoff at. It runs a little bit weaker, but Regulation H Dragonite, that is not the Inner Focus, Normal Terra, Choice Band, um, Extreme Speed variant, is sure it is going to be weaker. It runs Haze, it runs, other supported moves that are able to kind of just hit the scale shots around it. I do want to check the offensive prowess. Like, let's say that it runs Inner Focus, Normal Terra, Max Attack, this, and then Choice Band. Is going to hit 36k priority move onto everything, which is pretty good. Stronger than Scale Shot. You do have to invest a lot into it to make that happen. You have to invest the Terra, you have to invest the fact that you don't have bulk, that it becomes a sole attacker, so maybe it's better to have sole attacker somewhere else. But it can do it if it wants to. It can dish out 36k damage, which is stronger than Hyper Voice. And high jump kick too. Almost the same. So Sneasler runs Grassy Seed, runs Close Combat 36k, Dire Claw 24k. That doesn't really have. Dire Claw has a lot of status that it can do, which it can be annoying. It also runs Fake Out support, so it's kind of like these four, but it is going to be a little bit weaker. It is going to be a little bit less bulky. However, with the Unburden ability, it can hit really fast. So maybe if it is against some of the less bulky mons, it definitely does have a way to get rid of them when they want to. So you want to get rid of them fast, to be honest. Grassy Seed Volcarona. Heatwave. So a lot of Volcarona can do one Quiver Dance in the beginning, like with some Fake Out support, with some Follow Me support. And with that, the Heatwave damage does 37k, which is not as strong as Charizard. But I feel like with the Grassy Seed, it runs a 70k, and with one Quiver Dance, it runs 88k bulk on the special defense. So I feel like it definitely is a more bulkier, slightly slower, slightly weaker in terms of attack version of Charizard, and it's regular defense bulk. Just sit down, hit Quiver Dance, have 70k bulk, able to hit hard. If you have someone that is pretty weak, you Quiver Dance twice, the damage goes up to 50k, 40k. So it definitely is a lot more flexible than what Charizard can offer, which is just set up stun. This is also without stun. If you have stun next to it, the Heat Wave will become very strong. Probably about the same as the Charizard. but you can kind of see the Charizard coming in and think, oh, he's either going to Heat Wave, he's either going to Tailwind if possible. Rather, Volcarona can kind of sit quiet, rack up. Once it is set up, it can be much faster, much stronger than the Charizard. Basket Legion. If everyone's dead and Basket Legion is the only one out there, it does 72k damage, which is, nothing here compares to 72k damage of Last Respects. And Wave Crash even still does 43k, which is very strong. And Bulk is significantly upgraded for something that is supposed to hit probably like a Mega Gengar. It hits twice as hard as Mega Gengar. It's going to be fast, it's going to attack, and the bulkiness is a little bit raised, about, like 20% increase for a fish that doesn't need a Mega Slot. Annihilate, if you're able to get the full population bomb on it, it does 108k damage, which is the strongest out of everything. Yes, sure, it does a lot. It needs a lot to set up. It requires the slot that is wasted on Mouseshold. Sure, I mean, it runs Follow Me, it runs Super Fang. It does provide enough support as a Mouseshold, but you can kind of see that, let's just say it gets hit a couple times and then you're going to hit 30k damage. Drain Punch, you're going to heal with 21k. And the bulkiness is just like a Mega Kangaskhan. And also, like we said, it runs Citrus Berry, so you can run Citrus Berry. So I think technically this is a little bit stronger, because Annihilate rarely will die to one hit unless it's super effective. Um, like a Ferroterra Moonblast from Floramain could probably kill it. But if not, then you get added you get added like 25% bulk to it with the Citrus Berry. Now, lastly, our Cholodon, Assault Vest variant. Electro Shot boosts one attack, so I count it as after it has been boosted. You're never going to run this without Power Orb. You're never going to run this without Rain. So even with the Rain, technically the shot will go 32k. So it is a 32k that boosts every time that you use it. It's going to be like 40k, 43k, 40 something k every time that it gets boosted. And also boost the flash cannon that's there. The stamina boost will able to allow the body press to hit harder. Defensive bulk without any item is 72k, which is stronger than everything out there. With the Assault Vest, stronger than everything out there. So they are a couple mons that definitely outclasses the Mega Evolutions out there in every respect of the way. I would say our Cholodon is definitely an upgrade for everything. I would say Incineroar, for what it does, is an upgrade to everything. Ursaluna maybe runs a little less special defense bulk, but still is an upgrade to everything. I would say Basket Legion is upgrade to everything compared to what it can do, right? What it runs, like what do you expect it to do in the meta? You expect to hit hard, hit fast, from the top, and only thing that does that about it will be like a Mega Baniri or a Mega Gengar, although this runs a little bit more supportive role towards the end. Like a Mega Charizard, sure, I think this you expect to run, although this is a little bit slower, or more like a this also is a little stronger, maybe like Mega Salamence. It compares pretty comparatively. It is a little bit less bulky. Basket Legion, so I take that back. And also Annihilate. So Annihilate, Incineroar, Rillaboom, yeah, very strong. Incineroar, Rillaboom, Archaludon, Annihilate, and Blood Moon Ursaluna definitely is out. It definitely outclasses all the Mega Evolution mons compared to things like Goldengo, Dragonite, Sneasler, Volcarona, and Basculegion kind of compares similarly to the Mega Evolutions out there for what it can do, which says a lot because Regulation HD's mons are not going to use up a Mega Evolution slot. So will be able to power creep a lot of regular mons, but I would say you kind of run the regular mons that is just as strong and probably pitch in the Mega Evolutions as a slightly supportive role. Like I'm thinking maybe if Mega Charizard Y can go in as a drop setter, like a weather setter, like a fast weather setter that could go with Lilligant maybe. Yeah, Hisuian Lilligant outclasses Venusaur in every way. Um, and just use Heat Wave from the top, Lilligant Solar Blade. But it's a little bit difficult to tell because if Torkoal's out there, probably just use Torkoal. Um, Charizard isn't that fast to justify it being like good because it is fast. Because 100 speed is nothing compared to what is out there. Um, Maybe like it outspeeds Urshifu, like Adamant Urshifu, just by a little bit because I think that's like 97 or 98. But like why maybe like run instant Rillaboom, sure, like all the balance cores, and then as an attacker because we can't use the Fluttermane, we can't use the Ogerpon, maybe we put in like something there, right? Maybe we can run like Mega Kangaskhan, maybe we can run Mega Salamence as an attacker, like as if we used to run Champao in the past. Like that is a thing. Although we are losing our Shifu, so it's a little bit difficult to have the water core in there. So we're gonna have to think about how we're going to run balance. But definitely Rillaboom and Incineroar is a good pick, I would say. And Archaludon, sure, Archaludon is definitely better, but it runs the risk of sacrificing the team building aspect because it needs rain, or else it's not as bulky special defense. Without a Sulfest, any special attack is going to definitely hurt him. Um, so sure, we have to sacrifice a lot for the rain, but we can also run Basculegion, and also we can also run things like Mega Swampert if we want to, things like that with the Swift Swim. Just needs to find out. Probably a Pelipper. Pelipper is probably better in everything to set the rain. So I don't think any Megas will set the rain. So like a Mega Swampert and Archaludon is definitely something that I'm looking into. I really do like the rain teams. It's just using Pelipper was very difficult against the Tornadus out there. So it runs a very bad matchup against Tornadus in my opinion in terms of what it can offer. The taunt that goes faster in Prankster. And all that. I do still have to worry about Whimsicott, but if there is a Whimsicott, I'm a little bit more worried about than just the taunt because it can also run Sunny Day. So that is something that I'm going to. If Whimsicott is a lot in the meta, having an actual Rain Dance move on the Pelipper might be something. Also, just one of the last thoughts, a lot of the Mega Evolution ones run that are strong, runs a lot of spread moves, right? The Hyper Voice on Salamence, Heat Wave, Hyper Voice. I guess that's about it. Never mind. I was just thinking whether it is worth running Wide Guard on there, but I think that maybe it's not as worth it. I think it is considering like running Wide Guard when there's like the Primal Groudon and things like that, but maybe Wide Guard is a little bit early and I can run the Rain Dance in that slot with the Pelipper. All right, so that's my thoughts on how the Mega Evolution compares to current gen Pokemon. I would say current regulation H Pokemon is about, there are some that outclasses, and then there are some that is about the same, which says a lot of how Pokemon has been. Yes, I know that we are very excited about the Mega Evolutions joining Pokemon Champions, but I think we really have to see what the new Mega Evolutions and what their abilities are going to be. Um, and see if there are any like attack boosting, defense boosting abilities out there that can run it. Like Protein Greninja probably doesn't do that much damage, things like that. But I really hope Mega Absol Z gets something like pretty good, or Mega Garchomp gets something pretty good. Um, if it gives it like rough skin, I'm just gonna like delete Garchomp. But as always, thank you guys for watching. I am looking very much forward to what Champions is going to give us. When as soon as we get some of the abilities from the new Mega Evolution Mons, I'll run these type of damage calculations again, just to see where it compares with the current meta, the past meta, and the future meta. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.